It's the middle of spring here in Zone 8A in North Alabama, and what I want to go over today is what you need to be doing to your turf, in particular Zoysia grass and Bermuda grass, here in mid-spring, rolling into late spring and into summer. What we do now will dictate the success or failure that you're going to have as a homeowner with your turf. Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Warren, and you're watching The Plant Doctor. Let's get started. The average frost date for my area is April the 11th, and today is April the 14th. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the 10-day forecast here and dictating, like, are we going to have a frost in the next 10 days or not? This particular year, we are not. Therefore, that dictates what I'm going to be doing to the zoysia grass, or if you have Bermuda grass, this also applies here moving forward. I'm still in a mode of weed suppression. And so I do a split application of pre-emergence. I do one in February and I do one this time of year around mid-April. So I'm doing around 0.4 ounces per 1,000 square feet of Prodiamine. So I did like 0.4 ounces in February. I'm doing 0.4 ounces now in April. And that gives me weed suppression from mid-February, and this last application is going to last another 6 weeks or so. So that's going to get me somewhere until June timeframe, early June, for the weed suppression. Also, I've added 0.75 ounces of a three-way product, and the three-way products are usually have like 2,4-D and dicamba and some other form of a broadleaf killer in it. And so I use SP three-way. I use a lot of Simplot products, and so their three-way product is going to be SP three-way. I'll leave a link down in the description below for everything that I'm using here on this turf. But you need some sort of three-way product if your grass is out of what we would consider the green out period or green up period. So you might be asking yourself, what do we define as the green up period? When your grass is out of like 80% dormancy, so 4/5 of your turf seems like it's green, I would kind of consider that out of green up. So what is the significance of this? If you apply a three-way product during the green up period, you are going to suppress the zoysia or Bermuda coming out of dormancy. So you may delay that process 14 to 21 days, where you're putting down a 2,4-D product, and that product is actually going to delay the green up. But once you get to this point, like you see behind me, you can go ahead and add a little bit of 2,4-D or three-way product into your tank, and you're going to be okay. So what is this product doing for us? So we've got the pre-emergent in the tank. Any tiny little weeds that are trying to pop up in the turf, the three-way product is going to take care of it. So we've got the post-emergent properties with the three-way product. We've got the pre-emergent properties with our Prodiamine. And between the two, I'm getting a wider spectrum of weed control here on this zoysia turf. Outside of putting down our pre-emergence and our three-way post-emergence, some things I want you to be looking for in your zoysia or your Bermuda turf is this. Early to late spring, so the whole spring season, one thing that can be a concern for zoysia and Bermuda grass is going to be fungal pathogens, in particular dollar spot and fairy ring. So in this patch of zoysia here, we do have just a little bit of fairy ring, and you can tell the difference between a fungal pathogen in your grass versus just dormant grass by looking at the defined edges of where the dormant and the green meet up. If there's a hard, crisp edge where the dormant and the green grass meet up, more than likely that's going to be some sort of fungal pathogen. If it's kind of sporadic, that's going to be just dormant grass. Also, one thing that I notice with fungal pathogens is that the dormant turf within the fungal patch tends to be a darker color than just dormant grass. So the dormant grass tends to have almost a beige or lighter color, and then the parts of the grass that have a fungal pathogen, they're going to be more of a brownish dark color. And that just comes with experience at looking at your turf. So how do we get rid of these fungal pathogens? There's a couple things that you can do. The first thing is, if it's not severe like it is in this turf, I've just got a little bitty patch of what I would think is fairy ring in this zoysia grass in one little corner. As the days get longer and the days get warmer, those are just going to fade away. There's nothing that we really need to do. If your infestation is more prolific, if it's all over the entire turf, you can add some sort of fungicide. So like daconil or copper sulfate will get rid of dollar spot and fairy ring. So right here underneath me, this would be an example of fairy ring. There's a nice defined line between the green grass and what looks like dormant grass. And the grass appears just a little bit browner than the appearance of the dormant grass that we see kind of sporadically throughout the yard. So look for these. In this particular instance, this is the only patch that I see in the entire yard. I'm not going to treat this with daconil or copper sulfate. As the days get longer and we get warmer, this will slowly but surely dissipate. Here in the next 7 to 14 days, I'm going to put down my first application of a slow release fertilizer. I want to make sure I'm past my last frost date before I put that down. I don't want to encourage a bunch of new growth out of the zoysia grass, and then we have a late frost and all of that money, all of those nutrients I put into the ground just go for naught. So I'm gonna wait till about April the 20th. I'm going to put down a slow release 90-day prill. Here again, everything that I'm using, I'll put down in the description below. And that's going to be a high nitrogen blend, something like a 20-10-10, where I'm going to come in, put down a lot of nitrogen. We want to encourage growth at that point, and that's going to continue to feed this lawn for 90 days. A lot of nitrogen is going to encourage a lot of growth, and these little dormant patches that we still see here in the yard will be a dark green here by the first part of May. If you're further north in 8A, so you're 7B, 7A, all the way up into zone 6 where we can grow some zoysia, you just want to delay that by another 2 to 4 weeks, depending on when your last frost date is. What I want you to do is look at your average last frost date, go 14 days past that, and then after that, put down some sort of fertilizer for your grass. This is normally the part in the video where I say, thanks for watching the Plant Doctor. Until next time, happy gardening. I want to go off script just a little bit here and pay homage to something that is kind of, if you grew up in the South, I grew up in Georgia and now I live in Alabama, something that's very near and dear to me. This is Masters Sunday, and in particular, it was Vern Lundquist's last Masters, so he's no longer going to call the Masters. He's been doing this for a very long time. He's been the call guy on hole 16 forever. He's had some iconic coverage of hole 16 at the Masters. If you think back to Tiger's chip in, that was one of the just craziest things that could ever happen at the Masters. And also, if you watch the channel, you know that I'm a two-time graduate of Auburn University. And when I think of Vern Lundquist, I think of the prayer in Jordan-Hare against Georgia, the fourth and forever, and Auburn just threw it up for grabs and scored a touchdown to win the game. And then Alabama fans, don't hate me, but you know where I'm going here, the kick six. I mean, those three things, Tigers chip in, the prayer in Jordan-Hare, and the kick six. I just want to tip my hat to Vern Lundquist for everything that he's done. You know, when I think back on my life, like, it's like, man, he was there. Like, I was at the prayer in Jordan-Hare. I was at the kick six. And so I don't think Vern Lundquist will ever watch a Plant Doctor video, but if you do, Vern, thank you, sir. We do appreciate you. Guys, as always, thank you for watching a Plant Doctor. And until next time, happy gardening.